Hey guys, it's Kid Coyote, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make poseable ears, like these ones, for my Therian style masks. To make these ears, you will need paper cardstock to make a template, some wire, I'm using copper jewelry wire, faux fur fabric, scissors, and hot glue. You'll also need something to cut the wire. I am using wire cutters. You'll also need to prep your mask base so there's a flat section where the ears would be. Optional materials that make this project easier are pet clippers and an airbrush. First, you're going to trace out the shape of the ears you want your mask to have. Once you have the shape traced, you're going to add this extra flap to one side of the ear. This is so that it folds properly. Cut your template out and you're on to the next step. Now, you're going to take your wire and form it around the edges of your ear template. You don't need to have wire around the bottom of the ear, but you'll want the wire ends to stick out at the bottom. These will stick through your mask base to hold them on. For your second ear, you can just use your first wire piece as the template. Now you're going to trace your template onto the backing of your fur fabric. I'm using tan fabric for the back of the ears and white for the inside. You'll want to make sure the pile of your fur is facing the right direction, and I like to draw arrows on my template to make sure I do this. For the backs of the ears, the fur should go towards the ear tips, and for the front of the ears, it should go towards the outside. Make sure to flip your template pieces to trace the fur for the other ear, otherwise you'll end up with two copies of the same ear. Now it's time to cut your fur pieces out. You'll want to use a sharp box cutter or X-Acto knife to cut only the backing and not the actual fur fibers. Be careful and please have an adult help you if you're a kid. Now you're going to trim the fur on your ears. I'm starting with the backs of the ears and parting the fur with the thin end of a paintbrush. Generally, you want the base of the ears to be the fluffiest. Since I'm making a lynx, I also sectioned off the very tips for ear tufts. You can use a pet shaver or scissors to clip the backs of the ears short from the middle up. For the front of the ears, I section off a thin strip on the inside to keep long, and shave a large portion in the middle, leaving part of the outside long as well. I trim around the edges of all of my pieces for a cleaner look. Now to assemble your ears. I start by gluing the wire onto the back earpieces. Make sure to only glue to the backing and not the fur fibers. You're basically going to sandwich your wire between the back and front fur pieces and hot glue it all together. Glue around the edges and trim off the excess fur, and you've got ears. Bend them into shape and trim them with scissors until you're happy with how they look. Now it's time to attach the ears to your mask. I made this base from cardboard, but you can use the same technique to attach ears to a cat mask base. You're going to use a pointy tool to make a hole in the base for your wire to go through and bend the wire on the other side. Secure it with hot glue from the back of the mask and repeat for the other wire. I like to glue a piece of fabric or foam over the wire to hold it in and protect my face from the sharp end. You can then glue the bottom edge of the fur fabric directly onto the felt of your mask to secure it in place. Repeat for the other ear and you're done with making your ears. To finish the ears, I use acrylic paint mixed with water and dollar store fabric softener to paint the details. The fabric softener and water helps to keep the fur soft. You could use an airbrush for this, but it's not essential and I didn't for these ears. Thanks for watching. If this video was helpful, please leave a like, and if you like my content, make sure to subscribe so you can keep up with my inconsistent posting schedule. If you have any questions about this tutorial or any ideas for future videos, feel free to leave them in the comments. Keep being wild, and see you next time!